So now that we've looked at the revenue side separately and the cost side in the short run separately, we are now finally ready to get back to the actual decision-making process for the firm. And remember, the purpose of the firm, that what it's thinking through, if you want to think of the firm as an organization that has an aim, the aim is to maximize profit, which means that, just to remind you, profit is total revenue minus total cost. Now, the interesting thing is that to maximize profit, I have to think not only of maximum revenue, because I can get more and more revenue when I produce more, but it doesn't just mean the best way to do things is to keep on producing more, because when I produce more, I also have more and more costs, right? So it's not enough to just say maximize revenue, because my costs go up as I keep increasing my output. Conversely, it's not enough to just say do the cheapest cost, because the cheapest cost may not be where I get the best profit. So to maximize profit, I actually have to look at the difference between this, and this happens on the margin, where marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. And we'll come back through this idea, which we've gone through before when we looked at utility and budgets, where we have to figure out, okay, I produce an extra unit. How much extra money am I getting for that extra unit? How much extra is it going to cost me for that extra unit? If the extra money I get more than the extra cost, then I should do it. But if the extra money I get is less than the extra cost, I shouldn't do it, right? So the marginal idea is for each extra unit, extra money, extra cost. If this is greater than that, let me do it. If this is less than that, pull back. So I'll do the best when they equate, right? So in order to figure out profit maximization, I actually have to put my costs and revenues together in the same frame. I'm going to work with averages and marginals because that principle means that I can use these graphs I developed of average marginal revenues and average marginal costs to put them in the same frame. So I'm going to start by just drawing and reminding you how to put them in. And then in the next video, we're going to learn how to read this to maximize profit. So let us start. We just finished our cost curves, and we know I'm going to leave out the fixed cost as a separate picture because there's going to be too many graphs in there. But we already know that we can read the average fixed cost as the difference between the average variable cost and the average cost. So I will draw my classic cost curves. Here we go. This is my quantity. My average total cost looks like that. Here, below my average total cost, starting somewhere here, with that distance diminishing, is my U-shaped in green average fixed cost. Average variable cost. Average variable cost drops here. Average total cost starts rising a bit later. And here, is my marginal cost. Drops, starts rising. As it rises, it'll hit the average variable cost at the bottom of that bowl, and it will hit that average total cost at the bottom of that bowl. The distance between these two is your average fixed cost, right? This is just the graph you had earlier. Now, let's go back and remember that we are in the special situation of the perfectly competitive short-run price-taking firm. So, this might be fine for all firms. Next step, only for the perfect competitive situation. So when we come to monopolies later in the quarter, we'll do this step, and then our next step's going to be different. Because the monopolist is not a price taker. So what the monopolist got on the revenue side, because they can dictate prices, is very different. Right? So, small store, you have to accept the prices. Amazon, maybe you get to set prices and fiddle around with revenues as well. Right? When we come to monopoly, we'll figure that graph out. But here we are. And because, only because I am a perfectly competitive price-taking firm, one teeny tiny firm in the whole industry, I'm a price taker. And because I'm a price taker, my price is the same thing as the marginal revenue and the average revenue. It's just whatever the price is per unit, that's my marginal and average revenue, as we already learned. So what I've done, if you look at this picture, is I took my cost curves and I added my revenue in terms of marginals and average. Now, let's learn how to read this.